Yeah, just how important is this fight with Aiemann, given how the last few have gone?
Yes, definitely. I believe that every single fight is a very important fight. You know, the winning fights and putting a good show and a good performance. That's the reason that we're here for the last 10 years. It's gonna be my fight number 22 for the organization, which I'm very proud to be a part of. And since day one, and now it's always fighting the best fighters in the world. So which I get to learn, I get to be a better fighter every single time that I step in the octagon, and this time is not different. Facing Aiemann Zahabi, well-rounded fighter, interest fighter, complete, and I can't wait to share the octagon with him, and the best man will win that night.
How do you internalize the results from the past couple of years? Because you're fighting the absolute best the division has to offer. You're not getting finished, but you're not ultimately getting the result you want. So how do you internalize and I guess use that to grow?
It does. It is not good and not bad. It is what it is. You know, every time that I step in the octagon, I'm always in the night my best version. Saturday night is gonna be my better version than all the other fights that you guys seen before. I get to train in the best gym of the world, American Top Team, and training with the best fighters. So that's a tool that helped me always to see what I done wrong in the past, and always be able to be a better fighter.
Some rule changes in MMA coming into play for this card. Right, 12 to 6 elbows now legal. Grounded opponent definition has changed. Did you train around any of that, or is it in your mind knowing that certain positions might be available to you now that weren't there before?
Yeah, definitely. Coach Pahompa, he was inform us at the gym, and we be training some of that, the new rule, let's say.
Pedro down here to your right. I got to ask, as you mentioned, you do train at American Top Team down in Florida. So why Edmonton? There's a Tampa card in like 6 weeks that would be probably a lot warmer. Was this just what was offered to you?
It is what it is. It's a fight. It's a part of my job. I fought in Sweden, fought in Brazil. That's my second time fighting here in Canada, and it doesn't matter.
Any memories of the last time you fought in Canada?
Yeah, it was 10 years ago. It was, I think it was October 2014. It's been 10 years ago. It was my third UFC fight. I get to finish Gerard Sanders in like 7 seconds in the guillotine. So yeah, definitely a good memories on that one. And I'm ready to repeat this Saturday night.
And like you said, you've been here a while now. You're 38. I think this is you've had over 30 fights. I mean, what keeps you motivated at this point? What keeps you going to the gym, getting up every day and grinding?
Yeah, that's a good question. Definitely a question that I ask myself every single time. I live every day of my life thinking about fight. Every night, every time that I go to bed, I thinking, how excited it's gonna be tomorrow morning to go train. Not even that. For the last 2 years, I also being a coach at American Top Team, so I'm transitioned to that version also. Being in the gym, being in MMA environment is something that's definitely makes me happy and content as a person also. Not only it, but it's a big part of my life. I grew up on the mats, and a couple fights ago that I was finishing the contract before this one, Sean wanted to resign me and was excited. It was right after I beat Chris Gutierrez that was coming straight with 7 victories. And I beat him in a unanimous decision like a year and a half ago, I guess. So I don't feel the game has passed me yet. I get to test myself at American Top Team with a bunch of good fighters from all over the world: Brazil, United States, Canada, Russian, and I feel that I have the fire inside of me. and I like to keep improving, testing myself, and and that's what I'm capable of.
You talked about making the transition to coaching. I'm just curious. I mean, you could fight for several more years, but do you have an idea of how you will know when it's time to make that transition fully?
I think when the times come, I think I'll, my body, my soul, I think I will feel peace in myself. And, but I don't think that time has arrived yet. I'm with the beast every day in the gym, sparring 2-3 times a week, and still finishing people in training, and still tasting, going to hunt for feeling that blood, and fighting this big stage. It's definitely a dream come true, but I think I have something else to not to prove, but to keep in doing it, putting a good performance, and willing to fight anyone that UFC has offered, and that's what I'm here for.
Thank you.
Hi, Pedro. Obviously, coming in here against Aiemann and enemy territory, what kind of threats do you feel that Aiemann possesses to you in your game?
He's well-rounded, training with a good team. They have a good coach. I know he's going to be ready to face me Saturday. Been watching some of his fights, previous fights, and my coaches also. We got to be aware. We got to be aware with everything that he can present on Saturday. He's a danger fighter. He fights calm. He being around with a lot of fighters that fought in this type of caliber event and fights. So not underestimate him. I know it's going to be a tough fight. And that's the type of fight that I like to be, tough fights.
What kind of problems do you think that you can give him in there on Saturday night?
Pressure, skills, and my desire to get that victory Saturday night.
Longevity in combat sports is something that's hard come by, especially with yourself fighting in the bantamweight division, one of the toughest divisions in the sport right now. You've never been finished. What do you kind of put your longevity down to?
What's that?
What do you put like your longevity in the sport, and the fact that you've never been finished? What do you think that boils down to?
I think genetic comes first, Second one's a heart. You can teach a heart, and it's pretty much it. Genetic is a heart.
Obviously, you have some history with Sean O'Malley, being in there with him, kind of unfinished business. What do you think of him losing the title to Merab, and what did you kind of make of the situation up at the top of the division right now?
Yeah, no, I never denied that he was a good fighter. I always was aware that he's very skilled. He's really good. Merab too is just a different beast, and I was happy to see Merab becoming a bantamweight champion.
Thank you.
Mike mentioned off the top that you'll take over again the most fights in bantamweight history on Saturday. What does a milestone like that mean to you after a decade in the sport?
Repeat again.
Mike mentioned that you'll take the record again for having the most appearances in bantamweight history. What does a milestone like that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. It means that I'm able to fulfill my dream in my professional career, and in the biggest stage, in the biggest organization in the world. So it's definitely a few accomplishment, and I feel proud of myself. And I'm not the type of guy that I keep looking and see history and stuff. So I just live by the moment and let out the stories being made by itself.
As you do make that transition into coaching and starting to share some of these lessons with the next generation, what is your story and your path give you to pass on to them, to show them, like, as you said, you can't teach heart. You can't teach being here for over a decade. What does that give you to pass on to that next wave of talent coming through ATT?
It's definitely the experience to be around many good fighters, and so many talent fighters, and a lot of the guys that's coming from tough, rough environment. It's like a school for them, and it's kind of like the kind of feeling that I get that this guy, he can be really tough. So like something that I say previously, you cannot teach you, but something that you can feel from other person, opponents. And in American Top Team, we are just on the mat, full of those animals.
Perfect, thanks.